And welcome once again to another week, and not just any week. Don't get too excited. Curb your enthusiasm, Titus, because this, of course, is AFL X week, and we're just a bit pumped about that. This is the Titus and Sergio Variety Hour. I'm Sergio Paradise, and here he is, just this morning, cruelly overlooked once more as Moomba Monarch. It's Titus O'Reilly.
Oh, just one day I've got to get in, hey?
You got missed out this year to Jimmy Giggle.
Is that who got it?
Whoever he is.
Is that who got it?
Jimmy Giggle and your mate Chrissy Swan.
Oh, right.
I mean, Chrissy, that's a great idea, but I'm not overly familiar with the work of Jimmy Giggle, I must admit.
No, well, he's on ABC Kids, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
I remember seeing him. He did something on New Year's Eve on it. So, yeah.
I
can't believe you're not across Jimmy Giggle's work.
No. You
thought it was a racehorse.
Yeah, Jimmy Giggle. You just said Jimmy Giggle, two legs ahead of Ginger Nuts.
He does sound a bit like actually a Martin Scorsese gangster.
Yeah. Played by Joe Pesci.
Yeah,
Jimmy Giggle.
Right.
Yeah.
So we should apologise. We promised 2 weeks in a row to do a Thursday podcast and haven't.
And we didn't, yeah.
And not naming names of whose fault that was. But it starts with Sergio. But we should add, we're working, we won't announce anything major here, but we are aware because we have been struggling to do it. And in fairness to you, you did have open heart surgery.
Just 12 weeks ago.
So, right, so in fairness...
But there has to come a time where I can stop milking that.
Gee, he's been milking his open heart surgery.
Yeah, I'm using it as an excuse for everything. Yeah.
Not paying your taxes.
I'm even using that as an excuse not to go to the doctor for a checkup.
But we're actually talking to a few people about doing some other things with the podcast. The central podcast, I'm not going to change in a major way. Serge and I'll still be chatting nonsense every week. But we've got some other people who might come in and do some extra stuff with us too, because we have a lot of fun doing that. So we'd like to do more, not less. So and we're aware of
hopefully turn the Variety Hour into a media conglomerate.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Terrific. So we'll have more news about that too. So we want to thank our supporters. Apologise we didn't get to it last week, but it's all Serge's fault.
We'll definitely do 2 this week. I'll be in for this Thursday.
I should also mention that I'm doing the Melbourne Comedy Festival and the Sydney Comedy Festival.
When does that kick off? Is that April?
So April and sort of end of April sort of thing. Right. So Melbourne Comedy Festival finishes. I'll put the dates and the link in the show notes again, but you can go on to frontiertouring.com.au/Titus, I think it is, and find all the details. Yeah. And 4 nights in a row up in Sydney at the Factory Theatre.
Good spot, the Factory Theatre.
Yeah, and then Melbourne, I'm doing a month for the run of the whole comedy festival, 6 nights a week.
Whew.
But it's at the Imperial Hotel up there near Spring Street.
Job. That's like having an actual employment.
I'm thinking I'll just send work experience kids on some night. Yeah, that's right.
Or just send them in on a disc.
Well, it is the history of Australian sport. That's right. I'll just record the first one. The rest will be just me putting the DVD on. I've also it's not me just reading the book. It's the stuff from the book. A lot of new stuff. So that's sort of the purpose. I'm thinking now that I'm writing the show, it would have been a lot easier just to read the book.
Yeah, it would have been, probably.
I shouldn't have promised that. No, but it should be fun. We had a lot of fun with our stuff last year. I did a few shows with you last year. I did a few on my own. Yeah. So this should be good. So come down to the comedy festival. It starts sort of that Thursday before Easter.
Yep, that's right.
So perfect time in the comedy festival with Easter there.
If you're doing like 24 shows, I'll try and get to one of them. I've already got tickets to see Kitty Flanagan.
Have you?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Kitty.
I might be able to help you get in free for my one.
Okay. I'll stand out the front handing out flyers.
I wonder if anyone will come to all of them. Not even I will probably do that. That's a worry. I'd have to take that person aside and chat to them.
Yeah.
I'll say to someone, I've seen you in every night and I'm a bit worried about you. And they go, I work here. I'm your sound guy. Yeah. Trust me, I'm only here because I'm being paid. I don't want to be here. So that should be good fun. So if you come a lot of people come in and do a few shows on Comedy Festival. I think I'm on at 8:30 at night for that one in Melbourne. Now, I've been asked, am I going to do that anywhere else? Because people instantly, whenever I post a gig now on Facebook, I get a bunch of people going, typical, not coming out wherever.
So here, Adelaide or
if the show goes well in Melbourne and Sydney, it was just they were the 2 first we booked. we're completely open to taking it to other places. So that's this comedy festival show, which is the highly unhelpful history of Australian sport. And I was talking today about going down and doing a couple of gigs in Tasmania.
Yeah.
So
Tassie needs the attention at the minute.
That's right, because I'm feeling that, the AFL, we'll talk about Tasmanian football, but so it's certain I'll be going down. We're just trying to book in the things, but I might come down 1 or 2 shows down in Tasmania sometime this year too. So please don't at me when I'm... Just because I announce one place doesn't mean I'm not going to announce other places.
As we pointed out last week, you are also opening for Ed Sheeran. on his stadium tour.
No, Missy Higgins is opening.
Yeah.
I got bumped.
No, well, you're opening
for her.
For Missy and then Ed. Yeah.
Bit of AFL comedy, nothing better. I hope he takes me on his international tour too. Now, we had a question straight off the bat.
Yes.
Only Cyril can do that is the Twitter handle.
Yeah.
Titus, when will the podcast team be announcing its leadership group for 2018? And how disappointed will you and Serge be to miss out again? Well, after our performances over the last few weeks, that's probably fair enough.
Yeah, it is fair. Yeah,
Although last week's podcast was the Randy Roo. I got a lot of feedback on Randy Roo.
I noticed we had a new follower on Twitter who called himself Randy Traits, which we'd actually brought up as being a good name for a country and western singer.
That's right, yeah.
So he's now called himself that.
Oh,
so, the Randy
inspiring
ones. Got a fair bit of feedback. But you can talk about, football and the Ashes series and all that. You talk about one Randy Kangaroo, and that's all anyone
cares about.
Yeah.
I think that shows the diversity of our listeners.
Yes.
It's been an exciting week because the Winter Olympics, which is it's the chance for Australians' private school kids to shine, has kicked off. Now, the opening ceremony, I know that you and I both have nothing to do on Friday nights with the footy not on. I had the AFLW on the iPad, and I had the Winter Olympics opening ceremony on the big screen.
What did you make of it?
Well, everyone was saying it was amazing. I watched it and thought it was terrible. Yeah. And then I woke, bits were fine, but I thought it was, and I think a lot of it came down to Channel 7's commentary. But I woke up the next morning expecting it to get pretty boring reviews, and people were raving about it. So I was obviously, it was okay. The drone bit was interesting.
The drone bit was pretty
All the bit with
clever.
The kids, though, where it was just weird CGI and they weren't even in the stadium.
Yeah, that was all a bit strange.
And the stadium seemed flat because they were all holding the things above them. It was minus 10 degrees.
And you couldn't tell, really, whether the lower deck of the stadium had spectators or not. I had a friend of mine who was actually there. So,
of course you did.
Yeah. So I texted her saying, is there anybody in the bottom rung? And she said, yeah, there is. But they're all holding stuff up.
Yeah.
But she said, but the actual floor of the stadium as such, if you call it that, was sort of down low and it was hard to see all the way into it.
Right.
And, but I thought the drones bit was great.
Yeah.
But there were 1,246 drones, which what they didn't show was the 1,246 nerds controlling the drones just from outside the stadium. But,
I like that, nerds. It's like you're like the Australian Homer Simpson.
You can fly a drone, you're a nerd. Yeah.
That's right, straight away.
You do have to say, though, for these opening ceremonies, over the last few Olympics, both summer and winter, they have mastered the art of the big projection onto the floor of the stadium, haven't they?
That's just that's their bread and butter now.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Drones, they use the drones for Lady Gaga's show at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's obviously they're going to be the new thing. It must be, because look, the skill in that, it must be, and this is probably going to show my ignorance, it must be, we're applauding their ability to, one, get lots of drones together, and two, have a computer program
them
to run them in that way.
Yeah. Well, you are talking South Korea, who, the Samsung are pretty big over there.
Well, just think those drones are going to be attacking the north in a few months' time.
I'll tell you one good thing about it was the actual...
Did you think it was good, though?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. One of the things I thought was good about it was that it was fairly short until I got to the athletes thing, because sometimes these things go on and on and on.
And you're going...
I remember the London Olympics.
Yeah.
They showed a potted history of the entire British Empire.
Yeah.
And you were 5 hours in and you still hadn't got to Queen Victoria, and you're thinking, we're another 4 hours from Oasis here.
And they kept a lot of the It's amazingly... Australia did a bit the same. Like, they keep a lot of the rape and the murder out of countries' histories when they tell them.
Oh, exactly. And the 35 years being occupied by Japan, that was just glossed over, in my opinion.
You've always been a keen Korean historian. You're one of some of your articles are the most cited in scholarly journals ever.
Yeah. But generally speaking, I didn't mind it until, and I know this bloke cops a lot of flack, until Basil started commentating, and then it was started to get a bit hard.
Before we get started on that, to lead us into that bit, Brad Ingle wrote in, did Channel 7 have a contest over which commentator could make the most inane comments about a country during the opening ceremony? Liechtenstein is a country, 4 vowels and no military, which was not one that I think was actually said. They did mention that but there was a couple of my favourites.
Yeah.
They had one for Malta. Malta's was, Basil says, and the thing is, like, whether you like Basil or not, these are written for him. Yeah. But it's the fact that, you'd think at some point either him or the people writing it would both go, this is terrible, and people don't want to hear me say everything. So, but for everyone, they had that interesting fact. So you were learning something. So there was a few, Malta, that he said, the home of Edward de Bono, influential thinker, author of books such as, and he names about 3 of these books, and I'm thinking, this is a Channel 7 audience. This isn't the ABC. Like, this isn't Philip Adams talking.
Just the fact that he brought up that Malta was the home of Edward de Bono, to be fair, that is lateral thinking in itself. That is a perfect example of lateral thinking.
So there was that one which I loved, and then there was other ones where, like, it was just more the obviousness of it. They had, for South Africa, they said, home of Nelson Mandela, and told you a bit about Nelson Mandela. I'm thinking, we're learning. Everyone knows about Nelson Mandela. Yeah. So, and then the best one by far was when Basil said, Madagascar, a country and also a series of great kids films.
I didn't hear that. I did hear on the NBC in America's coverage, Katie Couric was doing the commentary.
Right.
And she actually pointed out that the Netherlands have won most of their medals for speed skating. And the reason for that is that all through the Netherlands, there's lots of canals which freeze in winter, and it's part of their transport as people get around on skates.
Right.
That's why they're good at ice skating.
Is that true?
I don't know, but it had Basil written all over it for me, even though it was Katie Couric.
Well, one thing that Seven did that was quite interesting is, they had the long fill-in till the actual ceremony started.
Yeah.
They were playing all the, the same things about, with Chumpy. Yeah. The guy who comes around every 4 years. Like, no one thinks of Chumpy at all. No. And then every 4 years, we're meant to, Australia loves Chumpy. And
if he didn't call himself Chumpy, you'd never
know who he is. I don't know his actual name, right?
Yeah.
And what I found hilarious was they then, Channel 7 said, NBC did some great promos of their American Winter Olympians. Here they are. And just played the NBC promos of American Winter Olympians. And I thought, well, maybe these are amazing to watch and that's why they're showing them. But they were just, they're fine. What other country would go, let's just show promos of another country's?
Oh, exactly. They obviously they did have time to fill.
But
the one thing about the Americans is at least you know that whoever they were probably a greater chance of getting a medal than any of the Australians. Because to this point of the recording of this podcast on Monday morning, we still haven't travelled the scorers.
No. I'm keeping a running tally.
Yeah.
0.
0 at this point.
You'd almost think Kitty Chiller was involved. C. Tips wrote in, and I think this relates to the Channel 7 commentary, am I a bad person for hoping North Korea attacked during the opening ceremony? I tell you what, you're not alone there. There were moments where I was thinking...
I actually said the same thing about 10 minutes in. I turned to my wife and said, it'd be really funny. This whole joint just went up in a big flash
really
now.
Funny. Yeah. You'll get letters.
That'd be the end of Chumpy.
So that was quite interesting. Basil. Everyone. Gavin Howley wrote in, why do I like the Winter Olympics when the moguls seem like a metaphor for my life, except there is no finish line? I
don't want to make light of this,
Gavin, are you okay?
I really don't want to make light of that, Gavin, because you might just push you right over the edge.
Hey, Mitch Wallenhofer wrote in, which AFL stars would make the best transition to Winter Olympians and in what sports?
Well, that's a good question.
There's a lot of AFL players that love powder.
Yeah. Yeah, white powder.
I can name a few.
Night and day, under lights.
Well, you could get someone like Carl Morton wouldn't be bad at the luge, just doing nothing.
Just lying on his back.
Doing nothing.
Downhill skier.
There's a fair few. I thought this as Melbourne supporters, this should be our favourite sporting event of the century.
Yeah.
But actually, it's kind of boring. Robert Hand wrote, this was interesting. We had Robert Hand wrote in, did the organisers of the Winter Olympics consider the impact of competing with such a well-publicised international T20 fixture?
Well, Robert, obviously they didn't take that into account.
When it was on the other night, I tweeted out, because about half an hour beforehand, I saw a tweet that someone said, T20. I saw Cricket Australia put out a tweet saying, are you getting ready for the T20?
Yeah, it was Saturday night.
Saturday night. And so I tweeted out, way to keep a secret, just learnt this is on. Yeah. And a lot of people retweeted it, so I don't think I was alone in...
I had no idea it was on.
The promotion has been... They should play these...
They've still got 40,000 people at the MCG.
But they should play these before... But that's Melbourne. They could have done anything and Melbourne people would show up. But they should play this before the Ashes in September or October, when everyone's gagging for they're quite happy to have some cricket. Yeah. But now it's end of saturation point. No one cares. And now they're going over to New Zealand to play more, and it's like
no one knows or cares.
No one cares at all. The other thing, though, I did think it was kind of were the Winter Olympics silly to go up against both AFLW and AFLX?
Yeah. I mean,
didn't they read a fixture?
They were asking for trouble there.
It's going to be a real problem for them.
Didn't they see that photo of Gillen with the bloke in the Sharon?
Oh yeah, and the acrobats.
Yeah, the acrobats in the circus.
It's my favourite photo of all time.
Yeah, it's not going to age well, that photo.
It's 3 days since, or it's like less than a week since it was, and already it's not aged well. Like it didn't age. The minute someone clicked the fixture, it was like.
Even Gillen looked a bit bemused by the whole thing. He just had a look at his face. He said, "Yeah, I'll go down to Etihad and do the whatever to launch the AFLX." Then when he got there, he turned around like the rest of Australia said, "Is that it? Is this it?"
I can't wait to see the silver ball when he shined up.
Oh, and you just know the silver ball will be impossible to kick or mark.
Don't you love how the 10-point goals, which I think are from 40 metres out or something, are called Zoopers because of a sponsorship with Zuper Duper. Yeah. I mean, that's just the AFL's. But that's just the AFL writ large. Like,
no question.
It won't be long until contested possessions are sponsored or something, or you can't call them a tackle anymore. Oh, exactly. It's a Coke Zero or something.
And they do it without irony. It was like having the umpires sponsored by Specsavers last year, and the other thing with AFLX coming up is, by making the ball silver, it immediately makes the whole thing futuristic.
In the future, everything will be silver. Yeah. Sean Carroll wrote in, should we be giving the T-shirt, as in the winning of the best question, to Peter Teafua? I almost said that wrongly, or rightly, as he seems a clearly new one. This is the Tongan that just rips his top off at every Olympics. He did it.
He came out all oiled up.
And he did it here, and it was negative 10 degrees.
Yeah, I know. Good luck to him. He probably does know.
Here's that mate that gets his shirt off.
At every opportunity.
Yeah. Like, it's a party, and he's like, why have you got your top off? Well, I look like this.
Yeah, it's warm,
I did think it was interesting when Bermuda came out and were wearing shorts.
Bermuda shorts.
There's a commitment to your culture. We don't care about, because apparently in Bermuda never gets down even to single figures, let alone negative 10. So they're probably unaware of what pants are.
And one of the other things that I really enjoyed about the opening ceremony, and this goes with all opening ceremonies, is when you have countries with a really small team.
Oh yeah.
Did you see South Africa?
How many did they have?
They had 2. There was a guy and they both looked about 90. They could barely walk into the stadium. I don't know what they were doing.
Well, there was one country, and I can't remember which one it was, and they had one athlete and then 3 officials walking
that'd be
behind
right.
it. And I thought, that is the Olympics summed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a 3-to-1 ratio for every team regardless. So that was sort of strange. Matthew Stapleton, this is an important question. Yeah. What is the appropriate amount of time to feign interest in the Winter Olympics?
Oh, it's been 3 days. I think we just about pull a pin now, couldn't we? We have, as I said, we haven't won a medal. We're unlikely to.
Well, I'm disinterested now until we win a medal, and then I'll pretend I was really
Lydia
behind
Lassila wins one. She's won a couple.
She's the only one that. It's funny how, apart from Stephen Bradbury, who's just known on a massive scale for miraculously not falling over, she's the only other like Winter Olympian you really. I mean, there's a few others.
Tora Bright got a fair bit of publicity, even though she's not there this year.
And she never won anything, did she?
No, I think she won a silver. I think she ever won a gold.
Well, they don't count.
And Chumpy, I don't think he's ever troubled the scorers either.
No. So, there's a few, but...
and Britt Cox, she was going to win the gold last night.
She was going to win the gold. She didn't.
Snuck into fourth. Yeah.
I was going to stay up for it.
Yeah.
And
I was too busy watching Chopper.
Oh, how was it?
It was just...
I've heard it wasn't very good.
Yeah, there were a lot of ghosts in it. To the point...
What?
Oh, Chopper kept seeing ghosts of Sid Collins, who he apparently allegedly shot in Tasmania. To the point where our friend Adam Rosenbachs pointed out on Twitter that there were so many ghosts in Chopper that the next scene was going to have Chopper and Sid Collins and on a pottery wheel. And Aaron Jeffrey didn't do a bad job as Chopper, but he did look to me like an actor acting covered in, ballpoint tattoos. In comparison to our old mate Eric Banner, who was genuinely
But Eric
scary.
Banner did such a good job. Like, I mean, an actor takes a role because they need the money. But you're just going to...
But the script itself wasn't terrific.
Yeah.
But I'll watch part two.
It's like trying to, reprise Stephen Guttenberg's role in Police Academy.
Yeah, of course.
You're just hiding to nothing. You just can't do it.
Police Academy.
Yeah, there's only 7 Police Academy movies.
Only 7?
And an animated series. I think they came...
It seemed like so many more.
They left a lot unexplored in that universe. Malcolm McKinger wrote in, why hasn't 7 worked roaming Brian into their coverage?
I like that idea.
Oh, imagine. With the Norwegians and all the, just lack of complete comprehension.
And a big Brian, he'd need a massive coat too, wouldn't he, Brian?
Made out of his mustache hair. God. When Malcolm sent that through last night and I saw it reminded me that we're about to, cop a whole lot of Brian.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah, we're getting back to that. Ben Fowler wrote in, is the 7 Olympics app the only thing that crashes out faster than Bernard Tomic? Well,
I wasn't aware of this, Ben, but it doesn't surprise me that the 7 Olympics app does crash. It's like the
Have you used it?
No, I've never used it. No, they keep saying download the 7 Olympics app.
I've got it.
Why would I do that? It'll be...
Because I never leave the house, I don't need to watch it.
Stupid little icon on my phone that I never touch.
Well, it's the same one that was the tennis one. So you've kept the tennis one that's now just flipped to being an Olympic one.
Oh, right.
And so it's I haven't had a huge trouble with it. Not like the Cricket Australia one, can I just say, is abysmal. Yeah. Every time. So I've got the premium paid up and everything, right? So the thing that annoys me so much about it is, and I'm only using it on one device, right? So it's not like I'm logging in. I'll give them my login to like 40 people or something. Yeah. So I log in on my phone all the time to watch it sometimes if I'm out at like a dinner party.
Which in itself is not a common occurrence.
Or a job interview. Or I'm at home and I'm watching something on the big screen and I want to keep an eye on something. So I use it all the time. And every time I go back into it, often if I've been in and got out to just look at something and then gone back in, it says... I have to re-log in and re-type in my username and password.
Every single time.
Yeah. And then occasionally it says, because you're logged in on 2 devices. And like, no, I'm not. And I've checked this with people and it happens to everyone. Like, how can you not fix that? That's a basic...
We're just, in Australia, we're just no good at that sort of thing.
Because the NHL and the MLB and which I've got all the American ones, they all, NBA, they all work really well.
Yeah.
But they have their moments.
Australians, we're just no good at it. Wait till the time we start trying to program 1,200 drones above a football match. What a disaster that'll be.
That's for the AFL Act, where drones outnumber the crowd. The AFL just start reporting drone numbers.
That's the A-League.
No, they just report tomato sauce and barbecue sauce bottles. That's pretty much that's the majority. Paul Spain wrote in, can you please explain curling?
Curling.
He said it so definitively, but you don't really.
Curling is not.
It's the weirdest sport.
Well, it's not a sport. It's just something created by drunken Scotsmen many years ago. And they're, of course, the best.
This is where you have a big, heavy sort of weight and you have to slide it down the ice and get it as close to...
Well, that's what I'm never sure of. You have the little bloke running in front with the sweeper.
They're to kind of... They apparently, like, by how much you sort of brush in front of it, you can speed up or slow down this stone as well.
And what's the point of the stone?
You've got to land it near the... Like,
so it's a bit like lawn
bowls, but on ice.
Okay. But it's...
And I love how the guy just lets go of it.
Yeah.
Always like theatrically.
Yeah.
And the other two keep going off in there. It's basically cleaning.
Yes, it is.
That's what it basically is.
But it's one of these things...
If you like polishing ice.
At the Winter Olympics, it's not actually an actual... It's like ice dancing. I don't reckon that's a sport.
You reckon that's an art?
Well, I think it's just a hobby.
But
it's a skill.
At least, you look at it and go, when they're throwing each other up or doing those spins, you go, you can kill yourself doing this or really hurt yourself. Like, this is actually it's a physical thing. But you and I could instantly do curling.
I'm not saying very good at it.
It's right. Roy and HG used to say about the luge. It's the only sport in the world which you could get someone to do it against their will, and it wouldn't look any different.
No one would know.
They called it the involuntary luge. But curling...
You just strap somebody onto one and give them a push.
Yeah, curling. I mean, I'm sure there's people say, oh, no, it's got real subtleties to it and all, but you wouldn't know it's a huge difference. Like, no. But it's a terrific sport.
I can't come at your ice dancing, though. Anything where you have to wear makeup and do it to a elevator music version of Hotel California...
You're not into that?
Sport, no.
So you're not a WWE fan?
There's a fair bit of makeup going on there. Yeah.
That's right. And a lot of music. Now, one thing getting onto, while the Winter Olympics are interesting, this has been an international story.
Yeah.
The AFLW, after the first round, a lot of complaints about the lack of scoring.
Yeah, especially that first game, that Carlton-Collingwood game.
Yeah, it's Carlton-Collingwood. It could have been a men's on a Friday night. Or a bad, low-scoring game on a Friday night. Yeah. Tell me how AFL and AFL women's are any different involving Carlton.
Yeah.
Like, that you'd be sending out a memo every week to Carlton.
Yeah, of course you would.
Instead of giving them a memo of how to play better, they give the men's team, like, what is it, 6-something Friday night games this year?
Who, Carlton?
Yeah, Carlton's got a bunch again. They got none last year because the year before they had 7 and they were terrible. Yeah. And now they're back. Anyway, so Steve Hocking, who's the new AFL operations manager, he's
been throwing his weight around lately. He's trying to make a name for himself.
Well, he sent a memo saying to the AFLW clubs that he wanted them to adopt a whole bunch of different, not rules, but he called them guidelines of how they should set up at stoppages and at the centre bounce and where they should stand and forwards should stay in the zone, and said umpires have been told about this and they won't start the game until you've done it. So how's that not a rule? If the umpires don't enforce suggestions, do they? I mean, that's just silly.
That is a rule.
If they start it's a rule by another name. He then came out and said, he was saying 15-metre protective zone for midfielders in front of stoppages and all this sort of stuff. Then when everyone bagged him and said, you wouldn't do this in the men's, although they do try and do this in the men's, but the men's coaches are big enough to go get stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, he got annoyed and said that he was being misrepresented. And everyone's like, no, the memo you wrote has been leaked and we're all adults and we can read.
You're the one who said it.
It's crystal clear what you wrote. So don't pretend now. And the thing is, if he'd said that without saying the umpires have been told to not blow the whistle until you're set up in this way, I would have said, well, they are just suggestions. But he wasn't saying they were just suggestions. He talked about the umpires enforcing
saying,
it.
Look, it's in the spirit of the game. Can you just make a few little tweaks to your game.
Well, he did sort of say that, but then he said it was very
Yeah.
prescriptive, and then he said the umpires would be enforcing it. So that is where it crosses over. And then he says it, and but what I found hilarious is when he was saying, that it's been misrepresented. It hasn't been misrepresented, mate. You screwed up.
You wrote it,
You screwed it up and interfered in a way that makes it look like. I mean, it does look like the WWE.
Yeah,
it does look like the wrestling.
Trying to script the games to make them look better for the crowd and for the TV audience and all that.
And everyone gets the AFLW isn't going to be as good as the men's.
Yeah.
Because more than anything else, these women have not had the pathways to play. Many of them have not played AFL ever before. Yeah. They were elite athletes in other sports because AFL, despite inventing women's sport apparently 2 years ago, had never enabled them to play on. So a lot of them stopped at 12, 13, never to play until now, or they never played and are now coming into the system because they want to play.
Yeah, they're 5 years away from an elite level.
At least, it's going to probably take 10 years to really get good. But, I watched the games on the weekend and the weekend before the memo, and I was entertained. Like, there were some games that were terrible, but like I watch every AFL game every week, and I watch every AFLW game every week because I don't have a life. And you know what? There were good games in the AFLW, and there were terrible games, and it was some that I wished my eyeballs would fall out watching, but that's the same with the AFL men's. Like,
well, just wait till AFLX. It's on Thursday.
Well, I'm sure we'd be even, and then, but it did make me think it's that for the first time the AFLW will be wishing they were back with the hands-off approach of Simon Lethlean.
The hands-off approach of Simon Lethlean. A good name for a book.
He never told him what to do. The AFLW, though, did, despite a lot of people bagging it, have 41,975 people turn up to watch Freo beat Collingwood at Perth's Optus Stadium. Now, a big part of this was the fact it was at Optus Stadium and it was $2 a ticket. Yeah. So it was also a chance to see the stadium and take the sort of thing and see it all. So I know that sort of inflates a bit, but it's actually a smart thing to do because they got a huge crowd and it looked great on television. They actually sold all the tickets. About 12,000 people didn't show up on the night because
That's $24,000 wasted.
Yeah, that's right. But you think about it that's like anyone who runs any event knows that's going to happen.
Yeah, you're always going to have a percentage of no-shows.
That's right. So but what I found interesting, it smashed the previous AFLW record, which was 24,500 at Carlton Collingwood, that one that got locked out last year.
Round one last year, yeah.
It also broke the standalone women's domestic game in Australia that's ever been. And this was the thing I found most interesting because it was one sentence in the articles about, there was a few articles about breaking this record. Yeah. And it said the obscure record, this was the previous record, was set in 1929 when 41,000 fans attended an exhibition game of a women's game at Adelaide Oval between employees from a department store and a pyjama factory. And then it just stops. And I'm like, talk about one bearing the lead. Yeah. And two, I need to know more.
I need to know more about that game.
Group of women from the department store played a group of women from the pyjama factory.
And 41,000
people showed up.
And that would have been a fair proportion of Adelaide's
Well, in 1929, I think that was Adelaide. Yeah. I think everyone in Adelaide went.
And Adelaide.
Anyone know anything about that? Send me some stuff about it.
There's nothing on YouTube. There's no footage.
I had a bit of a Google yesterday. I couldn't find anything, but I haven't done a comprehensive search yet because I only found out last night, so which would be interesting. Claire Murphy wrote in, do you think we'll see crowds beating the new AFLW record of 41,975 at AFLX?
Don't think so, Claire.
Only if you count acrobats standing on other acrobats' heads.
Yeah, and the 1,200 drones. But other than that, no, I don't think we're going to see.
Do you reckon you'll get what do you reckon it's at Etihad and there's other ones is it Hindmarsh Stadium, which the Adelaide United.
Is that Friday night or Saturday night?
Friday night, I think the Adelaide one. Friday night, I think it's Etihad, and then Hindmarsh, I think is Thursday. Do you think people will go?
I think. I mean, they will. They're certainly not going to get 40,000 there.
I think there's one up in Sydney too, and I think that I've heard is not going to have. That's going to have literally, it'll be like a man and his dog.
Yeah. Eddie had 10,000 max.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't see him getting much more.
I wonder how much tickets are. I haven't looked. So it's
and
whether
it's
also
being televised. It's on, every game's on Fox Footy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows? It may end up being a massive success, and it may appeal to lots of people.
Yeah.
And it may expand in years to come. But for the first week, first crack at it, I can't see getting too excited about it.
This is either going to be dead in 3 years or
dead in 3 days.
Although I did predict Richmond wouldn't win the premiership last year.
Yeah, that's true.
So we've all been shown to be idiots on this stuff. One thing with perfect timing this week. Yeah. So the AFL have had a cracking time because they've had the reveal of how much money they're having to pour into the Gold Coast Suns.
25 mil, as you pointed out.
Yeah, they then launched AFLX. So, and look, I know all clubs. One thing people point out is all clubs get distributed money from the AFL. But a lot of that goes from like clubs that play at Etihad, and the AFL's there to redistribute TV rights money and various other things. So that does happen, and a lot of clubs are in financial trouble with that AFL.
For decades.
And that's
in trouble.
So that's not my problem. Isn't that my problem? Is when the AFL pretend that the Gold Coast Suns, they're not setting up in Tasmania because it's not financially applicable, viable. When the Gold Coast Suns aren't financial, they're just saying, well, the AFL's position really is Tasmania's a captured market. We already own that. Why would we waste our time? But Gold Coast is a new set of eyeballs that we could win over. Now the problem there is then you have this news about Tasmania's state leagues and various leagues falling over.
Yeah.
Now, Tasmanians football has long been a basket case because of their own, north-south divide and all sorts of issues. And but now it looks like they've got several clubs now that are all sort of shutting down, and they've had Burnie has withdrawn from the Tasmanian State League, and that's been a huge impact. Because, it's a famous club in many ways.
Devonport's another one.
Devonport. Now, I've heard and talked to some people from Tasmania, they've had a lot of trouble with various businesses, large-scale businesses, shutting down in Tasmania in certain parts, especially around Burnie and things like that. So a lot of young men who would work up there now don't have jobs, so they've moved out of the area. So that's a big reason. But these guys can't even field clubs, right? They can't get a team together. Yeah. They can't get enough people. So that's been happening. And you got to wonder, where's the money going?
And the state league clubs got the salary cap of $90,000.
Yeah,
that's for the whole team. It's it's 40-odd players. There's not a lot.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of money going into it. It doesn't seem like the money's you compare what they're pouring into GWS and up in Brisbane. It's nowhere near. So, and it's a cashed-up league at the moment, and so it just looks terrible. And there was a lot of talk about players from this league saying in the media that they then watched the AFLX launch, and we're just like, really, we're we've
got plenty of money.
Your backyard, you got a fire in your backyard, and you're launching this. And Gillen mentioning that they're going to potentially have a tournament in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And you just go, hang on, Tasmania's falling apart.
Any chance of Hobart,
Did you say Hong? I thought you said Hong Kong, but it sounded like you said Hobart.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate, because there's not enough players to go around. And this, you know what Tasmania needs to do? Reintroduce logging everywhere. That'll bring back the jobs.
That's long been your position, though. That's nothing new for you.
Cut down every tree. That'll bring economic benefits, and it may well be financially viable after.
So it does look interesting, and now there's no club in the Tasmanian State League located on the northwest coast. So anyone who lives in that area who wants to play has to travel basically to Hobart, which is a 3-hour journey just to play.
Yeah, train twice a week. No wonder it's falling apart.
Yeah,
and it really does seem that the AFL just don't give a stuff. I think that's one of the reasons, in all seriousness, why a lot of people in Tasmania have been angry this last week. As you say, they spent all this money on AFLX.
Yeah.
25 million to the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Millions on the AFLW and everything. But as soon as Tassie put their hand up for maybe just a bit of help, it's like sorry, fellas.
Yeah.
This is, there's only,
And they blame
there's only so much to go around.
And they also they play up that Tasmania's north-south divide and Tasmania's the problem, but that's not completely fair, especially to the individual clubs and
not
players.
Insurmountable when you look at GWS and the Swans. And,
especially when it's produced so many good players.
Oh yeah, I mean,
so it's worth keeping just for the players that are, and these you got to look after. Look, the balance you always want is you look after the die-hard areas while growing the new ones, and the die-hard areas need to be a bit more open-minded.
Yeah,
and we're all of other states and things like that and growing them. I get all that, and I'm for it. The National League is much better than just having the VFL.
Yeah.
But you've also got to balance that by looking after the areas that have been committed to it forever.
Oh, exactly. I mean, I think it's a real shame.
Showing that there are no bad ideas in world sport. Did you happen? I love people tweeting this to me. Did you happen to catch the ice cricket challenge, which was in the Swiss Alps on Foxtel?
Didn't catch a lot of it, I've got to say.
Did you catch any of it?
Oh, I saw a few highlights.
Yeah.
Was this the one that Andrew Simons played in?
Yeah. Mike Hussey and Andrew Simons were part of it, and it was all about playing on. It was at St. Moritz, which I know you're a huge fan of. That's where all your money is, isn't it?
St. Moritz, yeah, and it used to be the ice skating rink.
So,
in St Kilda on the Upper Esplanade.
It was a T20 match, and it was held on a frozen, snow-covered lake, and they put an artificial turf carpet over it. And instead of using normal cricket, use normal cricket stuff, but instead of wearing, you just ran basically runners instead of spikes. And they played.
You need the spikes if you're playing on ice.
Well, I think it's got this carpet they put over it as well.
Oh, right.
So you're not completely you're not wearing skates. So you can actually move around.
Nobody went through the ice, so that would have been funny.
This is what was interesting here. It said, while the so it was a star-studded tournament that they're setting up to sort of try and, get interest in it, I guess, and they're just playing these people. It's not new. Cricket's been played on ice in St. Moritz for more than 25 years. It says the lake's incredibly thick ice is able to withstand more than 200 tons of weight, enough not just for a game of cricket, but also for grandstands to house spectators.
Well, there you go.
Now, how confident would you be
hopping into a grandstand
on an icy lake and people telling you, it's fine.
And then you see Merv Hughes opening the bowling.
But they were like, oh, no, it's totally fine until it's not, basically.
Yeah. And what a disaster would that have been?
So it was a completely bizarre thing to watch. They had it on Foxtel. I didn't even know it was on until people started tweeting me, so I flicked over to it. Will I Am wrote in, and hello to the Black Eyed Peas
he's a
leader.
Great follower of this podcast.
Huge follower. Is it true Cricket Australia is proposing a best-of-7 series on ice against Switzerland? Rumour has it Federer and Hingis to open Wawrinka at 7.
Geez, they're harsh on Stan Wawrinka there.
Well, no, he's the first drop, Yeah. He's now.
But I'm still not convinced that this is ice cricket. If they cover the entire joint
with carpet,
yeah,
what matters what's under it? Yeah, that's right.
I thought
you wanted them on skates.
Yeah, so I thought that like the pitch area was carpet.
That did. But in the pictures, it looked like that, and then when I read up on it, it said no, it's got this special turf carpet.
Oh, well, it's not ice cricket, it's carpet cricket.
I know, it'd be a lot more fun if everyone was on skates, like ice hockey.
Yeah.
Like ice hockey, they don't go, it's on ice, but we put a carpet down.
Yeah, so we can all play in runners. If you're going to play ice cricket, do it properly.
Davin wrote in, with the success of the ice cricket challenge, should the Boxing Day test be moved to Mount Buller in July, it would still suit the Demon supporters as well as most MCC members.
And you could get a cheese platter.
I think that's a terrific idea. Michael Barbaro wrote in, will Tasmania get a team in the new AFL on ice competition, which is surely on its way after the success of cricket on ice? Oh. Don't give them ideas.
Yeah, don't start.
Would you watch AFL on ice?
I'd watch AFLX on ice.
In fact, you will be on Friday.
It's a drug, not the...
That's how you feel when you saw that picture of Gillen. Have I taken ice accidentally today? We've all done that once or twice, haven't we?
Of course we have.
Crazy. We're getting into our listeners' questions, some great listeners' questions this week. Drew Morfettville wrote in.
Still one of the great names.
This is a good one. Do you know what? Just before we get into these questions, I should mention, we've had an alarming amount of Barnaby Joyce questions.
Oh, is that right?
Because, as always, this is the podcast people turn to in a political crisis.
Absolutely.
To get the real views of...
Yeah, you forget that David Spears.
That's right, or Barry Cassidy.
Or Peter Van Onselen.
Go to where they know what they're talking about. Drew Morfettville wrote in, who was the biggest letdown for New England last week? Tom Brady or Barnaby Joyce? That's a good one.
That is a good
Barnaby
question.
Joyce's seat is New England, if anyone's not across that. Dread Pirate...
Tom Brady still has the very good-looking wife, so he's probably in front there.
Yeah.
Although, who had the biggest fumble?
Dread Pirate Roberts wrote in, will Barnaby Joyce follow in the footsteps of Wayne Carey by having a year off, getting traded to Adelaide and somehow landing a gig on Talking Footy?
Wouldn't you like to see Barnaby Joyce
on Talking Footy?
On the couch.
Probably end up the head of AFL Women's. Mark Hayward wrote in, do you reckon Turnbull should take a leaf out of Gillen's book and sack Barnaby, then quietly get him a job in Clubland? It currently strikes me that the AFL have a higher moral stance on employees sleeping with their staff than the Australian Parliament does. And you know you're in trouble when a sporting code in Australia is outstripping you on the moral high ground.
Exactly, and the sporting organisation who, as we've said, will welcome back anyone after just about any indiscretion and get a gig back. And that's what Mark's suggesting there.
Both of the AFL employees who got sacked are both now
back in Clubland.
Well, one's in Clubland. St Kilda have hired Simon Lethlean, and the other one, Simkus, is now Croc Media.
Oh, yeah, he's gone to Croc Media. A lot of people have gone to Croc Media.
We should mention you're back on SEN, I noticed.
Oh, yeah, Wednesday afternoons, about 4 o'clock, doing a lazy...
KB and Dr. Turf.
KB and Dr. Turf.
I did notice they sacked the woman that sacked you from the podcast.
Yeah, I must admit, I did take some joy out of that.
Oh, did you? Yeah. That was Kathy Thomas. She was annoyed because you bagged something.
Well, yes.
You bagged SEN on
6 months ago, I pointed out that SEN may have been struggling just a tad as far as the joint's concerned.
That's right. And she sacked you from the job.
She sacked me immediately from an unpaid position on the podcast. And then poor old Kathy got the bullet herself.
Well, I felt no sympathy for her because, that's what happens if you sack Serge.
Yeah. Tell you. I know people.
So there you go. If you can listen to Serge on SEN talking even more nonsense now.
Crap like this, 4 o'clock Wednesdays.
No, good on you. Now we should Mick wrote in. Oh, so that's the end of our Barnaby Joyce questions. I had about 40 more.
Is that right?
I should add. We could have done a whole podcast on Barnaby Joyce.
A whole Barnaby podcast from us.
It's only a matter of time where you and I have a political podcast.
Yeah, we should.
How we're not on Insiders. It's one of the bizarre things.
Or Q&A on a Monday night.
Imagine you and I on Q&A.
I'd love to go on Q&A.
Q&A to me is being stuck at the worst dinner party possible.
Oh.
I don't know why anyone. I don't know why anyone watches it at all. Like it just, I can't get through 2 minutes of it without being angry. And it's I'm even angry with the people on it who are arguing like my political viewpoint. If I agree on the argument, that they're just so annoying in how they do it.
I can't believe that. You're right that anyone watches it, but be the people who actually go on it, whether they're politicians or public figures or whatever.
Yeah.
Surely, if you got the call from the producers of Q&A, you go, nah, pretty right. Monday night I've got to watch part 2 of Chopper, or
or the ice cricket.
Or the ice cricket.
I would prefer to watch
Chumpy might be
Chumpy's
on tonight.
Chumpy.
Maybe Chumpy will be on Q&A. Analysing why we didn't win a medal at the Winter Olympics.
What's your pick of how many gold medals we'll have at the end of the year, at the end of the Olympics?
1 if we're lucky.
In a gold or just, you reckon?
1 gold if we're lucky. There might be a couple, sneak into a third somewhere here and there. I couldn't tell you in what sport.
Yeah.
But usually we, maybe pinch a gold or a silver's here somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And my old mate, little Lydia Lassler, she's our best.
Your old mate?
Oh, we used to have when she won her first gold medal, she came on Ralphie Sergio, the big man.
Yeah.
1 week, and we did the great congratulations.
Yeah,
the gold medal. And then 2 weeks later, she turned up unannounced. She said, "Oh, look, I was just driving through Richmond. I thought I'd pop in and say, come on in. Olympic gold medalist, Lydia Laszlo." She wasn't Laszlo then. She was before she got married. But she's our best chance in the areas. Yeah. And she's an absolute
She's very likeable too.
Yeah, she's a great person.
I'm surprised she dropped in. Did she? That happens a lot to you.
Well,
it's hard to resist the charms.
Because Scotty Cummings actually pocketed the gold medal before she left.
She needed it back.
She wanted it back.
He pawned it off. That'd be right. So moving on from our Barnaby Joyce question, Barnaby Joyce hour, Mick wrote in, should the AFL build a new stadium with a capacity of 43 people to cater for the huge interest in AFL X matches?
I'll say 43 people. That won't be enough for the AFL junket, junketeers, the officials.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be more people.
I wonder how many, there is a sense, it could go either way. Like, it could just get a middling crowd or it could get an okay crowd of people just curious. And if you go off the vibe of sort of Twitter and social media, which is never completely accurate, right? It's a very niche group of people. But there's also a chance that the AFL community just reject it outright and don't go because they just don't want to actually support this nonsense.
Or it won't draw huge crowds, but the TV audiences and the people who watch it on the TV, especially the kids, might go, hang on, this is great.
Yeah,
we'll
bloody
go
kids.
Next time. Yeah, kids,
That's how you end up with Jimmy Giggle, the king of Moomba, because of bloody kids.
Jimmy Giggle.
He's killed people, I swear. Lee Ritchie wrote in, what is the ratio of no-name rookies to fireworks and pop songs to ensure AFLX is exciting enough to be hailed a success?
The ratio, I'm not sure of that, but it'd be fair to assume there'll be a bunch of, draft picks.
Yeah.
And
rookies, there'll
be a few high-profile draft picks, top 10 draft picks.
Yeah.
I reckon North will wheel out Luke Davies, Uniac, who's their number 4.
Yeah.
And I think Freo, Andrew Brayshaw, number 2.
Brisbane are rolling out Rayner, Rayner.
Did you see the Freo played their intra-club game yesterday?
Yeah.
And that number 2 draft pick, Andrew Brayshaw, found himself lining up at the first centre bounce, having to tag Nat Fyfe. How would that be? Last year you're playing school footy. This year, your first game,
you're on Nat
Fyfe.
Although I put a lot of faith into intra-club matches. Remember when Shannon Burns came to Melbourne and kicked 6 goals in an intra-club match, and the club reported it like it was a real, it was amazing.
It was the second coming. Here come the Demons this year. Shannon Burns
kicked 6 in an intra-club, because he was playing against Demons defenders.
I don't think he'd kicked 6 in his entire career at Geelong before that.
Trent wrote in, with Channel 9 cricket over for another summer, how much will you miss Michael Clark and Kevin Peterson in the next 8 months?
Not at all, to be honest.
Michael Clark, I can't go. You can see why his teammates didn't like him the more you listen to him.
If he'd been in Vietnam, he would have been shot by his own troops.
You got to say, it is amazing how much the commentary teams these days in sport, they would prefer a Michael Clark because he was a captain.
Yeah.
And a great player, so there's no doubt about his play. But they would prefer to have him than get someone else who's perhaps didn't have quite as much success as a cricket thing, but he's a great broadcaster.
But he's a terrific broadcaster.
And Seven do that too.
Or even somebody who never played cricket, but he's a really good broadcaster.
Yeah, I mean...
Channel 9 won't just
Channel
go
9
down that
7
path
don't either. Look at all the 7s. They don't pick many people. I mean, Michael Slater's the only one that snuck in.
Yeah.
But it's, you know what I mean? They just avoid that thing altogether. Blazer wrote in, and I think his wife's English from this question.
Yeah.
My wife delivered me a son and also a copy of your book on the same day last week. Is that the best English performance we've ever seen over the last 4 months?
Oh, you'd have to say, congratulations, Blazer.
I wonder what he was most exciting about.
Yeah. See,
I hope that when his son grows up, there's all pictures of his birth, and it's just Blazer there reading my book in the delivery suite.
Well, exactly. Well, I mean, that kid will probably disappoint you greatly over the next 20 years, but a book is forever.
I tell you what, it felt like giving birth writing that book. I'm writing the second one at the moment. That's it's like homework all the time.
Yeah, imagine having to do that every night, every single night.
Terrible. Lucky I've got Australians not winning medals to inspire me. Anne Harris wrote in, do you think Geelong's experiment with a 3-man side will work?
Oh.
Did you see the picture they had this week?
I did. And it was, if you're a Geelong supporter...
So it was Dangerfield, Selwood, Joel Selwood and Ablett.
Yeah.
And I think it was Corey Norris from Channel 9. I hope I'm giving it a correct accreditation because it was very funny. He said... he put that picture on Twitter of just the three of them and said Geelong's team photo 2018.
Oh, yeah, and he's not far off the money there. I mean, gee, it's not a bad three to have in your midfield. And again, I get why we don't want to talk up the results of intra-club matches too much.
Yeah.
Word out of Geelong was Gary Ablett still got it. Can still play.
But Ablett, if Ablett plays the whole season or a fair chunk without injury, stays relatively injury-free, it will be an amazing pickup. His problems, he barely played in the last 2 years.
Yeah, if he plays 20 games, you can be pretty sure 12 of them will probably be absolute crackers.
Yeah.
And then you put him next to Selwood and Dangerfield.
He might be more resilient than we think, because I do think he was calling in sick a lot at the Suns.
I think he suddenly might find a bit of fitness this year that he struggled to find at the Gold Coast the last couple of years.
Sean wrote in, when will the FFA, the Football Federation of Australia, realise that the dwindling crowds can only be saved by a shortened form of the game?
So they're suggesting that the
A-League X.
Yeah, A-League X.
X-League.
Could they play it on a rectangular field?
No, they should play soccer on an oval. That's why they're going to go bigger and more, 18 aside.
You reckon that's low scoring now? Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to write an FFA press release announcing their new version. Joe Sayers wrote in, can it be explained to Sergio that Married at First Sight is as simple a premise as Wait for Age? Well, let's be honest. You didn't get Wait for Age. You had to ask Racetrack Ralphie to explain it to you.
I actually thought Wait for Age was really complicated.
So the fact you didn't get Married at First Sight...
I think Joe's got a fairly good point there. I should have realised that something titled Married at First Sight, there was the implication that they were married at first sight, whereas I thought there might have been some kind of courtship period, albeit shorter than usual.
There's a lot of phrases that you struggle with. Do not press. Do not enter. There's a lot of simple instructions in life. The cheese 01. That's a great Twitter handle because that suggests that the cheese was taken. In fact, the cheese 1 was taken and it was 01.
And it also implies that there may be the cheese 02 down the track as well.
Son of the cheese. Revenge of the cheese. The cheese wrote in, how many roads must a man walk down? I'm assuming he means before he's truly a man.
Yeah, I think he's quoting the great Bob Dylan there. But
I don't know.
How many roads must a man walk down?
What do you think in the modern day where it's all apparently so confusing, what makes you a man?
Well, see, the thing that Cheese is asking is how many roads. The key word here is must. Must a man walk down? Or is it should a man walk down? Can a man walk down?
I tell you what, I think that road to become a man is in Sunshine. With all those African gangs we have here in Melbourne, apparently.
Well, pretty soon, Cheese, a lot of those roads that you're going to walk down are being replaced by Skyrail.
How many Skyrail trips? I've actually noticed, really, to become a man, the thing... As I get older, but also, look at people who are sort of men in middle age, to become a man and go from being like in your 20s, which is now an extended adolescence, right? You got your mates and you go out all the time, you're social. To become a real man, you have to start to really have a disdain for other people.
Oh, yeah.
And just not want to leave the house.
And disdain is probably not strong enough. Complete contempt.
See, this is when you know you've become a man. Someone says, hey, everyone's going out on Friday this party and you want to come? No.
No.
Or there's a dinner party with all our friends. No.
No.
Because AFLX is on.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, on that somber note,
We'll see you Thursday.
yeah, Thursday. And this time we're actually going to do
Definitely
it.
we will on
And we're going to have
Thursday.
some announcements around the podcast coming up. So we are getting there.
We are working behind the scenes
Thank you.
feverishly.
Thank you for your patience.